This is the Week in Review for TheTrumpet.com, Friday, August 26, 2011. Libyan rebels this week easily overran the capital of Tripoli, including the compound of dictator Muammar Gaddafi. The country has all but fallen to the rebels, which leaves one burning question: what next for Libya's government? Western commentators say that two outcomes are likely. First, the violence and chaos could continue until another military-backed strongman simply takes Gaddafi's place. Alternatively, a more representative system could arise. Either scenario will be dominated by Islamists, however, resulting in an anti-Western, anti-Israel state that will draw close to China, Russia, and most of all, Iran. The Trumpet has long expected an Islamist regime to dominate Libya. In 2006, Trumpet editor-in-chief Gerald Flurry forecasted that Libya would become aligned with Iran. That day is almost here. Terrorists in Gaza fired about 150 rockets into Israeli cities last weekend. The violence began last Thursday when Gaza militants killed 8 Israelis and wounded dozens more. Israel retaliated with airstrikes against known militants in Gaza. Last Friday, Hamas announced it was ending its truce with Israel, and terrorists launched dozens of rockets and mortars into southern Israel, killing 1 civilian and wounding dozens more. The two sides agreed to a temporary ceasefire on Monday, though some rocket fire has continued this week. Meanwhile, the Palestinian Authority is taking advantage of the violence, saying that the solution is to grant the Palestinians an independent state. Watch for continued terrorism and retribution to ultimately lead to European intervention in the Middle East. Another casualty of the violence last Thursday was the relationship between Israel and Egypt. In pursuit of the terrorists who perpetrated the attack, Israel Defense Forces accidentally killed 5 Egyptian security personnel. Cairo responded Saturday by threatening to recall its ambassador from Tel Aviv. Israel issued a rare public statement of regret, but Egyptian leaders responded via local newspapers by saying that Egypt after the January Revolution is not like Egypt before. It also said Egypt's strong popular will does not know weakness or complicity and understands how to achieve retribution for the blood of the martyrs. A recent poll shows that strong popular will is overwhelmingly in favor of amending or canceling Egypt's peace agreement with Israel. Watch for Egypt's Islamist extremists to take over and make Egypt a strong ally of Iran. The latest Eurozone bailout has caused division, and German Chancellor Angela Merkel is struggling to keep her coalition together and hold on to her chancellorship. One of her outspoken critics, German Parliament member Klaus-Peter Wilsch, said 30 or 40 conservative MPs are very dissatisfied with the chancellor. Spiegel Online wrote that Merkel's own party is falling out of love with her. Recent polls show most Germans believe Merkel will not win a third term in 2013. 55% of Germans have little faith in Merkel to handle the financial crisis, and 20% have no faith. The chancellor is being criticized for reacting to events rather than being proactive. Biblical prophecy foretells that Germans are about to get a strong leader, the strongest they have ever had. As Trumpet editor-in-chief Gerald Flurry wrote recently, the crisis will likely force Merkel out, perhaps even this year. Pope Benedict XVI visited 1.5 million young people in Spain for Catholic World Youth Day. Britain's Telegraph reported that the Pope had struck a rapport with young people in Spain, just as he had in Britain. The success of the day shows growing popularity for the Catholic Church in Europe. Benedict also used the occasion to reach out to Anglicans and try to draw them into Catholicism. He chose a former Anglican to sing at the opening of the Mass. Watch for the Catholic Church to grow in popularity and influence in Europe until it becomes its most dominant and unifying force. China's military is catching up with modern forces, according to a Wednesday report by the Pentagon. Its military buildup made substantial gains last year, with the People's Liberation Army developing anti-ship ballistic missiles, an aircraft carrier program, and a prototype stealth aircraft, among other advancements. According to the analysis, Beijing will be able to project naval and ground forces far from China by the year 2020. A Pentagon official said the scope and speed of China's military investment could destabilize the regional military balance. While some criticized parts of the report for being too soft, soft, China's Xinhua news agency criticized it as an alarmist cock and bull story. Expect the Chinese military to grow bolder in stepping forward and the U.S. military to grow weaker as it steps back. As gold prices soared last week, Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez announced that he wants Venezuela's gold back. Repatriating the country's 200 tons of gold from Britain, the United States, and Canada may be the largest gold transfer in modern history. Venezuela holds the world's 15th largest gold stockpile, most of which is stored in the Bank of England. The trouble of moving hundreds of tons of the precious metal is worth it to Chavez, since gold could conceivably replace the falling dollar as the world's reserve currency. Expect other nations to follow Venezuela's example of taking their money and running. The White House has presided over a new debt record. The current administration has increased the national debt by $4 trillion in 945 days. The debt has jumped from $10.6 trillion when President Barack Obama took the oath of office to the current figure of $14.6 trillion. The increase equates to $3 million a minute, the fastest rate of increase of any administration. America has spent all of its money, tomorrow's money, and even other nations' money, yet it remains unsatisfied. About 3,000 people are being hospitalized in England because of alcohol-related problems every single day. More than 1 million people went to English hospitals in a recent 12-month period during 2009 to 2010. The figure has increased approximately 50% since 2004 to 2005. The problems include liver disease, stomach cancer, and accidents and injuries sustained under the influence. These figures are a dire indication that alcohol is out of control in Britain. That is the Trumpet.com Week in Review.